Welcome to Minerva, a monthly show where we discuss the mysteries. We hope to give you enough information that you can go away and do your own study. First of all, I'd like to introduce my co-host Duncan.
Hello.
And this episode is the third in our series on Oak Island.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, we want to talk about the modern history, and we can't talk about the modern history without talking about the show, the television show on History Channel called The Curse of Oak Island. Now, that show has been an absolute blockbuster. It's created so much hype around the actual mystery, and there are lots of people, either armchair fans or even people out in the wild doing some real research on this, which is fantastic. The story of the show starts with Marty and Rick Lagina, who are passionate treasure hunters, but it's really Rick who has the early passion about treasure hunting as a child, and he reads the Reader's Digest article that is all about Oak Island, way before all of this hype. And that gets him really excited. Now, in preparation for this, we've both read that article.
Yep.
What did you think of it?
Well, it is what it is. It's an article in a popular magazine. It's written so well in the sense of it's engaging, it's exciting, but it's not a historical account of it. It's I see it very similar in the sense, especially much of its impact, how the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail was for the Rennes Chateau sort of thing. We know there's all stuff before it, but it was the thing that generally created that first real wave of interest from people like ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's as much as it is. But it is, yeah. If you're interested in that sort of thing, it hits the mark.
And hopefully that's what we're trying to do here with Minerva. I think it tries to set out the big headlines.
Yeah.
Without going into too much detail, so people can get interested in it and then go away and start researching some more. You know, it's a lovely, I think it's a really well written article, and it certainly makes you think that's a place I want to go and start digging for treasure. So It obviously worked. Now, the show starts a number of years ago now, and the early episodes for me were really interesting. I was really hyped about it, but they were very slow.
Yeah.
There was not a lot being found. There seemed to be a lot of digging and a lot of theory, but not a lot really happened. Apart from, I think the highlights for me were finding coconut fibre. But again, that sounds interesting to me. When I jump off the sofa and they found coconut fibre, and my partner looks up and goes, "What are you jumping around about?" And I say, "They found coconut fibre." She's like, "Why is that interesting?" And also, they find some coins. What did you think of those early episodes? Did you feel that they were interesting enough to set it up for what we currently have got now?
I don't think they had much of an option. I think they can only work with what they've got. I mean, there is that part where we learn about the brothers. We learn about the more enthusiastic one, where he's, from his childhood, it's a case of there was a boulder when he was a kid.
Right.
And he convinced his brother and a couple of mates to, I believe there's treasure under there. And so he convinced them to dig underneath it, and there was nothing there. But you could see that the guy has a passion to, I've got to find treasure.
Yeah.
And the brother seems to maintain that thing is, look, I'm going to support him, but, it's he's not that enthusiastic in these early episodes. But it does as much as it can do. Again, because of my personal opinions about Oak Island. But there is that point, we have to get excited about the coconut fibre because it's one of the things that they find early on, where in the early accounts, like in the Reader's Digest thing, they say about coconut fibres were found. And the significance is they're not indigenous to the area.
No.
So where we're looking at something being man-made, we have a confirmation of something being man-made, whatever purpose is something else, but also linking to this early story. So we find something that is, it feeds what we want it to feed.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really like about the show is this feeling for me of collaboration. I feel that they're really open to talking to other researchers, to bringing other researchers in, bringing other ideas in, and then looking on the island for those things. Because for me, they could quite comfortably section it off, don't let anybody in, it's just us and History Channel, we're going to do our thing, we're going to do exactly what we want. But it feels to me like collaboration seems at the heart of it, and they seem like nice guys. So it comes across in a really nice way, but
you
don't have that opinion.
I don't have that sort of feeling. It's a case of, as you say, it's just slow running. There's not much being found on the island.
No.
So you still have to make a program that is entertaining. And so if there's nothing else to do, bring in other people with weird and wonderful theories and say, right, let's put them on the camera because what they've got to say is either bizarre, so therefore entertaining, or it is engaging in its own right. And so I don't really see collaboration. Collaboration would have been, okay, let's bring in the experts, even the ones who say it's a sinkhole. Why on earth are you spending, why am I here on television talking about you guys spending millions on a sinkhole? That's collaboration. The other one is just people all interested in the same topic. They only have people that seems to support the idea that we're looking for buried treasure. So I see it as more of an entertainment gimmick.
Well, as the series starts to trot on a bit, we get into those middle, the middle part of the series where things start to really move forward for me. They find far more interest in the lead cross, which is, then linked back to being made in France and being part of that. And again, looking at the Knights Templar, and they actually go to France and look at ancient graffiti in the prisons and in the towers there. So when we get to that level of research where they're having to come off the island to look at other things, I found that was quite interesting and a nice place for the show to go. But what did you think of the lead cross and the trips that they took away?
To more Knights Templar stuff.
More Knights Templar.
Well, yeah, there is. It is a lovely find, but in the same way, I would be no more excited about it if someone was metal detecting in the field behind my house and look, I found this, because there is something that is a symbol of faith that someone obviously has owned and they've lost it. There holds a value that is emotive, but then to jump to, okay, it's relevant to this treasure that's buried on there.
Yeah.
We're now taking it off to France. We talk so much about the Templar crosses, but we both know that there's no singular Templar cross design. There's one that we now have adopted because that's now what we say is a Templar cross. But I can't remember the exact phrase, but in the first writings of the order, it was like saying no insignia, nothing. So there's no cross, not even we would imagine a metal one. But then again, maybe it was a servant to them or something. But we're starting to leap to conclusions. And the same thing with the graffiti. We get so emotively charged by what people are saying, the presenters are saying at this time. They're saying, these people are waiting, if not for death, they're waiting for torture. So they're going to symbolize their secrets on the wall. That's as if we're assuming they had secrets. If not, you've got guys terrified. But if you really was a devout Christian and you're going up against something where you're going to be questioned on your faith, what's the graffiti going to be? I'm going to draw the cross. I've got nothing else here. I'm drawing a cross. It's sometimes we have to see things for what they actually are.
Yeah, and I think we've said in the previous episode that we both kind of struggle a little bit with the Templar theory. I would love it to be true, but for me, there still needs to be more evidence. They do lots of digging, lots of drilling. It feels, for me, really interesting that the amount of power they're putting into these things. But they get excited in these middle episodes about tiny little pieces of wood that come up, which is great. And I think, it's all part of the process. However, as we come closer now to the recent episodes, towards the end of the series where we are now, they're finding big bits of wood.
Yeah.
They're finding a lot of things. And actually every episode is littered with coins, iron artifacts, nails, and lots of different things. And they just seem to be finding lots and lots more. And I think it's just ramped it right up.
Yeah.
There's a massive interest in the show from the History Channel perspective. So I think there's probably the budget to start doing some of these bigger things. But for me, those, the current episodes, even though they're becoming cheesier in a sense because they're finding more, it's much more exciting.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I found myself doing the same thing. I was watching the episode where they found the King Charles coin. And so instantly my head's going, oh yes, a sailor's obviously been there, so why else would it be there? But then you sit back and go, well, actually, let's just check. What's the history? And you've got the history of the indigenous Indians living there, the Portuguese, the Spanish. You've got the English at one point trying to encourage their soldiers to colonize it. So why would an English coin be there? being colonised. And then later we have the island stripped up into bits where people are using it for farmland.
Yeah.
So you have all these different ages, different cultures, and strange enough, we drop stuff. And so we find all those bits and pieces. But this wood was something for me. It's been such a roller coaster for myself to research it, because of course there's when accepting the idea of it being a sinkhole, then we're now looking at man-made stuff deep into the ground.
Yeah.
As that. So I'm going, wow, this is the flood tunnels. They did actually exist. Because, of course, when I first started researching it, said, okay, and they go out on the beach, and then I become skeptical because they suddenly find these flood holes, and then after a rainstorm, they all disappear. So, like, oh, how convenient is that? They've lasted several hundred years, there's only one stone, and then they're all gone. But then, as I'm watching the episode, I'm starting to find myself believing again. So, wow, this is it. And then they drop in the little snippet of going, okay, so this is close to where the clay mine was. Hang on, sorry, what did you say? The clay mine. And they go, oh yeah, and the Knights Templar. They say, hang on, clay mine? Yeah, it's a clay mine. In the sense of, I'm from Norfolk. We've got flint mines. We've got flint mines that date back to Neolithic times. But they've still been used because they was getting clay out of them. When flintlock pistols came out, flint was then back in. And so these these mines have been just used and used and used. And we're going deep underground. And so we're looking at something where even where we're looking at the native Indians living there, the value of clay was immense. And the flint that would have been there at the same time, we have clay mines even today. That's how important clay is.
Yeah.
And so I know we've got the causeway that was built there because there were so many treasure hunters going aboard. But even they said, yeah, there was a road there from the clay mine, and so, okay, so the wood down there is from the clay mine.
Well, that's one theory. And there are many theories. And for me, I'm really excited because at the end of the recent series that I've watched, they're talking about doing what they call the big dig.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has killed me watching this all the way through is that if there is treasure down there, and they're drilling these big boreholes, and they're using this hammer grab to go down there, I keep thinking it'd be great for them to pull up treasure, but if they pull up the menorah and it's all twisted, how will that go down? And I'm so used to seeing archaeologists with a little brush and doing that, and these guys are really going into it, everything with this immense power. So for me, doing the big dig would be great because it will be. It will be by sight more than it will be just throwing something down a tunnel and hoping. It will cost a lot of money, so it's whether or not there is the funding and all of that type of stuff there to do that. But for me, I've gone through this in great detail. I've been keeping up with it over the years, and I think there's a treasure. I do think there's a treasure there. I don't know where it comes from, and I don't know if I could, hand on heart, pinpoint, the person that put it there or the reason why it was put there. However, I think there's enough evidence, even though most of it is circumstantial, there is enough showing a direction of there is something buried down there. There's too much wood down there. I completely agree with you on the clay mine. I think there probably were clay mines there. I just don't necessarily think the two things are linked. However, hopefully the big dig or further excavations will find a treasure. And, we'll do another episode. You'll kiss my feet. And
in the old decaying Spanish shoe.
Yes,
yeah. All right.
We'll, and we'll make up. But no, I think there is something there to be found. I think they will find it as well. And I really look forward and I'm excited about the future of it. Your final thoughts on
For me, it's a case of, you remind me, I seriously don't mean this patronising, but you remind me of my father. Or this situation does. Because when I was, sorry, again, don't mean offence, but when I was a kid, I was reading books like The Eye of Fire, Seventh Sword, Greenstone, really paranormal-like books. Yeah. I was reading books about, I can't remember the professor, but there's a guy who's an Egyptian archaeologist who's saying about the patriarchal characters of the Bible were different pharaohs. And I was saying to my father, you see how this links to this? And my father would be sitting there, yes. And then I'm now sitting here opposite you going, yes. But the thing is, I know I'm seen as a cynic, but you know me in the sense of it's not that I don't want these things to be true. I desperately want them to be true.
No, you want to believe.
I really do. And the worst thing with researching this one, I think we did an episode, one of our early ones, and we brushed on the subject of Oak Island. And I was openly eager. Oh, let's do that one. Because to me, that is, it's irrefutable. We have a man-made hole. We've got these Indiana Jones-like devices stopping. There's going to be something down there.
There's maps. There's everything.
There's everything. Yeah. And I'm going, and then, Duncan, we're going to do the Oak Island episodes. Excellent. And so I do my due diligence. And what? Sinkholes? There's research? No. Program. Claymore? Oh, no. And so I'm absolutely gutted that my little bastillion of the last thing, my last bit of hope of a real treasure to be found, unfortunately is gone. I feel quite safe in taking the bet of not having to kiss any foot or anything in any case to lose this as a bet. Although I do think it seems to be very one-sided.
Yes, that's true.
Is there a time delay on when I get to win? But no, that's my thoughts.
And, I think that's very fair. What we do is we try and set these mysteries up for people to go away and to learn more and to be really involved in them. And hopefully we've done that for you. Please do leave some comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you feel about the show and what they found in the show, and also about our opinions on it and whether or not you can help us in our research and studies.
You just want your shoe kiss.
I just want my shoe kiss, yeah. But please do like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again in another episode.